Hello everyone, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I want to show you a way that I enjoy wrapping crystals that have been drilled through. You can see this one, I guess it's called being top drilled, where it's drilled kind of side to side. And the way that I'm going to be setting this one is in some half Persian 3-in-1 chainmail. So I'm going to start with, here we have 20 units of 20 gauge 3/32 inch rings. So they're quite small, and each unit is one open with one closed on it, with the exclusion of the first one has 2 rings and the last ring will have no rings. And so what I'm going to do, let me see if I can't zoom in just a bit for you, clear out our background. And also the material that I'm using here is German silver. And also I'm going to go ahead and apologize for those of you who are picky about manicures. I have dirty, paint-covered, chipped-up fingernails. Please forgive me. I'm an artist for a living. That's kind of, having nice fingernails isn't exactly something that I get to do. So I've closed it. And if I remember to, I'll put a link somewhere on the screen to a link that goes in particular over this weave. But you can see I have my ring set up like this, and I'm going to hook through those two. Because this isn't a tutorial on this weave as much as it is a tutorial on the whole project. So this is called a half Persian 3-in-1. And in the tutorial where I teach this, I'm using much larger rings, so it's a little easier to get the hang of it. But you can kind of see here, I just take each one ring with one closed on it and thread it through 2. And that's how it looks kind of from the back side. And I'm going to close that. And then tuck that ring behind. And I'm trying to get as best to closures as what I can, but this section of chainmail is actually just decorative. Oops, kind of tangled myself up there. Now I'm just using my fingers to kind of hold the rings in a way that makes them easier to pick up and control through. There we go. Closing that ring. So you can see this is how the weave is just coming along. And also, just for frame of reference, this is actually the same weave that I use to edge cabochons. And this here is shown with a 20 gauge 1/8 inch ring, so you can see the kind of difference in size. Same wire thickness, but different internal diameter of the rings. So I'm just going to keep adding one little ring at a time. And the goal here is to make the length of chainmail to the circumference of our crystal. So this is nothing if not time consuming. So I'm just going to hook it and then tuck it behind. That way it repeats that pattern. The more you do chainmail, the better you'll get at it too, so be patient with yourself. And with this weave, once you kind of get it going, it's much easier to just kind of keep adding on. Now the material I'm working with today is called German silver or nickel silver. It's a copper that has had nickel and zinc added to it to make it this really nice kind of white gold color almost. Not quite silver, not quite brass, not quite copper either, but I really like it. It's a nice warm silver color. Now, I'm severely allergic to nickel, but I don't have any problems at all with wearing this blend. I think it really is such trace amounts. But definitely that is something to keep in mind. You could also, I mean, I wouldn't recommend this ring size for an aluminum because it's such a soft metal. But copper or brass or stainless steel could work very well for this ring size also. Okay, so now before we get too much further, I actually want to come in, that's how it's looking so far, and measure around our crystal, because this is how it's going to be sitting. And it looks like I only need a few more links before it'll come all the way around. Pick this up, put that ring back where it goes. So I think I'm going to add 3 more rings and then hold it up to measure again. There's 2. And also, since I'm working with irregularly shaped crystals here, this may or may not be a good size for both of them, but I'm only worrying about doing one in the tutorial. Okay, so we'll wrap around right like that. Oh, it looks like maybe one more would do us just right. So maybe 20 was right on the head. Okay. So I've closed that one. And I'm going to bring that ring behind. And now I'm going to take this last ring and I'm going to thread it through, but instead of closing it, I'm going to bring this end around and just hooking that on like that. And closing that as best as I can. And then I need to bring this ring from below that one to up just a bit. See how they kind of traded spots? And let me find... I think I have some more petite bent nose. Yeah, there we are. Bent nose pliers that I can get in here with. And there'll be a list for the tools and materials used in this project down in the video description below. And I'm kind of just rotating this around until I find where my opening is. And then I'm just gonna open it. Just like that. And then I'm gonna come in here with this ring. Oops. These ones just feel a little sturdier with their thicker nose. And I'm trying to hook this ring over the opening. So it looks like I might be able to do with a little bit more of an open ring. Like a little wider. Okay. Yeep. Trying to do this in a way where my fingers don't get in front of it. There we go. Just like that. And now I'm going to close that as best as I can. Beep. Let's see if I can't get my other pliers in there. This is definitely not an easy ring size. I would not recommend it for your first project. Okay, let's So now you can see this is inside out though, from how I would like it to be. So I'm going to take this and kind of push it around so that it sits like that. Now I'm actually going to take this and thread it over. Yes, that fits quite well. Thread it over the top of the crystal. I'm actually going to try this out on the other crystal as well. It's a little loose on this one. I might just do 19 units on the other to see if it would fit a little tighter. But I'm pretty pleased with that. Now what we're going to do is, here I have a piece of 20 gauge enameled copper wire that's round. And I'm going to identify where the hole is in my crystal. And I'm going to come right in here through these two rings on our chainmail, and then thread through to the other side. And then I'm going to push this up just a hair and push it through to the other side. So now it's sitting like this. And so this chainmail here is actually just decorative. You see how it's kind of coming through like that. And so now I'm going to take my round nose pliers. I'm going to zoom out just a hair. And I'm going to grip quite close to the tip of the pliers, but about 5 millimeters in from the close to the tip of the wire, but 5 millimeters in from the tip of the pliers. And I'm just going to start circling it down like that. And now I'm going to do the same thing from the other side, trying to keep the loops kind of on the same plane as each other. Like, I don't want to do it like this and then roll it in. I want to do it like that. Again, trying to position in the same place on my pliers, that way the loops will be the same size. And I'm going to try to coil them in uniformly. And I'm just going to kind of tuck them up on top of the chainmail. See how that worked? They're kind of off just askance from each other, just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to tighten that one down just a hair. Excellent. I think that looks pretty good. And so now from here, if you were attaching this to a necklace, you could put a ring through both sides and have it feed off into a chain. But these ones, I think I'm actually going to do into pendants. So what I'm going to do from here is try to find some rings. So let me dig those out and I'll meet y'all right back here. So here we are. I have some 16 gauge 1/4 inch and some 18 gauge 3/16 inch bright aluminum rings. I'm going to open one and attach it through the loop here. And I'll just call them large and small, because you could use your own artistic discretion to use, you know, whatever ring sizes you like. I just use these because they're what I have on hand, and I kind of like the way that they sit. Okay, so you can see that's how far above they reach. Let's see if I can get one to thread through this way. Not very comfortably, it seems. That should be alright. So I've threaded it through and I'm closing it. A nice clean closure. But see how it has such a tendency to lean over to the side? I guess that'll be alright. So I'm actually going to open up two more and just close them. Thread them through that one that we had closed that kind of joins everything together. And so this would be what I would thread a chain through. So I think that has a pretty nice look to it. Now, an alternative to this would be to open this up. And I'm trying to think what gemstone I would like to use in conjunction with the quartz crystal. Let me see what I have on hand here. Here I have a very nice little unpolished quartz, right off camera, that I think looks a lot like a little moon. And this is crackle quartz, so it's been heat treated. And here I have another piece of 20 gauge silver coated wire, and I'm just going to thread this right through like that. And oh, do I want a bead cap on either end of this? Let's see what we have. No, I don't think I do. Maybe a silver bead on either side. How would that look, I wonder? I think that would add too much. So again, you could use your own artistic discretion. But I'm going to come in about an inch from the end, and I'm going to do a bend. I'm actually going to thread the bead off so I don't lose it. Yeah, little jump rings make a perfect place to keep your little ring or your little beads, to keep them from just rolling around all over the place. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to try to make the same size loop as what I have here on the side. Just wrapping around like that. Then I'm going to move my round nose pliers into my other hand and use my bent nose pliers to do maybe 3 rotations, or maybe just 2, we'll see. I'd like to do a full 2 at least. There we are. So that's how that's looking. And I'm just going to snip off the little end here and smush that down, because you don't want any little pokey bits. And so now I'm going to thread on this quartz bead. And you could use any gemstone that you like in any shape. You could actually go a little larger maybe, but I liked the way that the 10mm looked next to this one. And so now I'm going to come in, and this wire is about 1 millimeter thick. So I'm going to come out about 2 millimeters from the end and do our 90-degree bend. Insert my pliers, roughly the same spot, bend the wire around, again trading my pliers into the other hand, and I'm going to grab the tail of the plier, or of the wire with my pliers, and just kind of bend this around to get it to go where it's going. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim it here, just a little out from the rest of the stem. And now this tail that's there, you can see right there, I'm going to go ahead and just start smushing it on into place. Make sure that the little loops are parallel to each other. And now from here, I can actually open this link, hook on our loop and close it. And then I'm going to come to the other side, open our little link, then bring it around, feed it through the loop if I can. Ah, it jumped right off. So let's try that again. Hook it through, then before it has a chance to jump off, go ahead and close it. I apologize for the construction noises. Our neighbors are getting their house re-roofed or something. Okay, there we are. Nice solid closure. So I'm actually pulling on it a little bit and just getting these to be bent downwards some to give us a little bit more movement. And so now from here, I'm trying to figure out how to put a bail on. I guess we could do like how we were before. Hook a ring through. No, that doesn't quite exceed the top of the bead though, does it? That's not going to give us any room to do anything. Okay. So I guess what I'm going to do from here is I am going to cut some fresh wire. Ideally, I'd be using some 18 gauge, but all I have is 20 gauge on hand. I'm just cutting myself off about 7 inches, so I don't mind a little extra. And here I have a very fancy pencil. And I'm going to take this, and I'm going to wrap it twice around, like that. And then whenever it comes to here, I'm actually going to do a little twist tie twist to 3 rotations. And I'm going to use my fingernails to spread that apart just a bit. And now I'm going to move these forward, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to come through right there and right there. And I'm going to brace with my thumb this quartz crystal up against the little neck there. And I'm just going to move these guys straight up. And this side's going to come and wrap around the neck. And this one's going to come to the front on both sides and wrap around the neck. What I mean by neck is that if the bail here were the head and the pendant were the body, this is the neck that attaches them. It's just a term that I use. You can call it whatever you want. Okay, I'm going to trim this side to match this one. So let me zoom in for you. So again, this didn't really come out how I was planning at all. So y'all got to catch a little bit of impromptu faking it till we're making it. So now I have these little arms coming off, like yay, coming off to each side. And I'm going to use my round nose pliers to just spiral them in. Because why not? So there's one little loop. And here's a second little loop. So I'm sure there's a lot of different ways that this could have been finished. And that you could do it however you like. But there we have a very nice little, you can also use your thumbnail to kind of press this back a little bit more. Open up the face of the little quartz crystal there. And I want to make sure that this stays nice and centered. There we are. So yeah, I think that's a pretty cool pendant. Either side could be the front or back, really. So if you have any questions, comments, or ideas. Hey everybody, thanks so much for hanging out with me for this tutorial. I hope that you found it helpful. If my camera will focus. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, I'd love to hear from you. If you have any requests for any future tutorials, I'd also like to hear from you. If you'd like to support the creation of more of my free daily tutorials, as well as participate in my fairy house giveaways and my homes for the gnomeless and my monthly craft crates and all the different things that we do here at Back to Earth Creations, please check me out on Patreon. There'll be links down in the video description below, as well as a bubble popping up on one of the sides of the screen right now. where you can go and watch a video specifically of how to become a patron. Also, you can share pictures of your work to my Facebook and Instagram, both of which have links down in the video description as well. I love seeing what you guys make. Y'all are so talented and creative, and it's like you guys are a constant source of inspiration to me. So keep up the excellent work, and happy crafting. I'll see y'all around. Bye.